In the remote corners of the earth, far beyond the last power lines, the final paved roads, and the outermost digital signal, there lives a people whose entire way of life is guided by the rhythm of nature and the bond between human and animal. These are the reindeer people, the indigenous herders of the far north, including the Nenets of Siberia, the Duka of Mongolia, the Sami of Scandinavia, and the Evenki of Russia. Scattered across vast expanses of Arctic tundra and boreal forests, they are connected not by borders, but by their deep, ancestral relationship with the reindeer. To understand the life of the reindeer people is to step into a world that modernity has barely touched, a world where every season has its song, every tool has a story, and every breath is a negotiation with the cold. These are not just communities. They are civilizations rooted in migration, ritual, and interdependence with nature. Let's begin where it all starts, the environment. The tundra is a place of extremes. In the winter months, temperatures can plunge to 50 degrees C, 58 degrees C, or even lower. The sun barely rises above the horizon. The wind, sharp as broken glass, scours the land unchallenged. In the summer, the terrain transforms into a lush, insect-rich paradise where the sun does not set, but where swarms of mosquitoes can drive both reindeer and herder mad. These dramatic seasonal shifts define the migratory routes of the reindeer and the survival strategies of the people who follow them. The reindeer is at the center of everything. It is not only a source of food, clothing, and transport. It is also a symbol of spiritual life and social identity. Children grow up riding them. Elders speak of them with reverence, and every family's wealth is measured in hooves. In many cases, the reindeer is not domesticated in the same way as cattle or horses. It is guided, partnered with, and understood, rather than owned in a strict Western sense. Let's talk about the clothes. The Arctic is unforgiving, and survival here has demanded ingenuity. The reindeer people have developed some of the most efficient traditional clothing on Earth. A typical Nenets herder wears a malitsa, a thick coat made from 4 to 5 reindeer hides, with the fur turned inward. This is worn with layered garments underneath, allowing the body to retain heat without sweating. Sweat can freeze, which is dangerous. The hood is large and downturned to protect the face from frostbite, and the sleeves are tied shut with reindeer sinew. Their boots, called torbasa, are lined with grass or moss for insulation and made of reindeer leg skin, which is particularly durable. Among the Duka of Mongolia, clothing is often adorned with family patterns and shamanistic symbols sewn into the fabric using brightly colored thread. It's not just practical, it's personal and sacred. Then comes food. Nutrition in such an environment isn't about luxury. It's about energy, warmth, and balance with the ecosystem. The reindeer provides everything from meat to milk to fat and even blood. In winter, raw, frozen slices of meat, known as stroganina among the Nenets, are eaten like sashimi. Fat is prized for its caloric density. Milk is used to make cheese or fermented drinks, while organs such as liver, kidney, and heart are eaten fresh or boiled for their nutrients. Reindeer blood is consumed, sometimes warm, particularly during winter festivals, to replenish iron and heat the body from the inside. But it doesn't stop with the reindeer. In the summer, foraging plays a key role. The forest yields mushrooms, pine nuts, wild herbs, and berries like cloudberries and lingonberries. Some families also fish in nearby rivers, catching Arctic grayling or northern pike. Every resource is used sustainably. Waste is nearly non-existent. Traditional values emphasize gratitude and moderation. Take only what you need, leave the rest for the spirits and the land. And speaking of spirits, the rituals of the reindeer people are the heartbeat of their culture. Their spiritual life is deeply tied to animism and shamanism. Among the Nenets, Evenki, and Duka, shamans still perform rituals to communicate with the spirits of the forest, the sky, the ancestors, and of course, the reindeer. Sacred sites are marked by cairns of stones or reindeer antlers. Trees are tied with pieces of colored cloth, offerings to the spirits. Before butchering a reindeer, it is traditional to say a prayer, sometimes offering the animal tobacco, or placing its head facing east to honor the rising sun and the cycle of life. Rituals also mark major life events: births, deaths, marriages, seasonal migrations, and even the first snow of the year. A Sami joik, for example, is not just a song. It is a spiritual expression meant to evoke a person, place, or animal. When sung to a reindeer, it honors its soul. When sung for a lost loved one, it bridges the world of the living and the dead. Inside the family tent, called a chum or yurt, depending on the region, life revolves around the fire. It is the hearth, the cooking center, the place for storytelling. The tent is usually circular, made from wooden poles covered with layers of felt or reindeer hide. It can be dismantled in less than an hour and transported on a sled pulled by reindeer. This nomadic design reflects the seasonal migration pattern, which can span hundreds of kilometers each year. In some communities, entire villages move together. In others, family groups set off on their own. Children are raised in this environment of movement and tradition. There are no playgrounds, but the tundra is their classroom. They learn to recognize animal tracks, forecast weather by observing clouds, and handle a reindeer by the time they are 5 or 6 years old. Girls are taught to sew hides, prepare meals, and care for younger siblings. Boys learn to handle sleds, scout terrain, and lead the herds. Knowledge is passed orally, generation to generation, through stories told by firelight and demonstrated by hand. The seasons define everything. In spring, the herds are moved to calving grounds, where reindeer give birth on soft, mossy soil. Summer is a time of fishing and berry gathering, of long daylight and mosquito battles. Autumn brings mating season and preparations for the long, dark winter. Winter is the time of rest, but also the time of greatest challenge. Snowdrifts, blizzards, and the northern lights all return, and with them, stories of ancient spirits, celestial visitors, and the dreamlike figures of animals who speak. Despite their deep roots in tradition, the reindeer people are not frozen in time. Some now use snowmobiles to supplement their herding, or solar panels to charge radios and phones. Children might attend school in government-run dormitories before returning home to the herd during holidays. Yet many fear losing their way of life. Climate change alters migration patterns and threatens lichen-rich pastures. Industrial development and resource extraction, oil, gas, mining, slice through sacred grounds. Government policies push assimilation and settle nomads into permanent villages, weakening their bond with the land. Still, resilience endures. Reindeer festivals are held where youths compete in sled races and show off traditional dress. Language revitalization programs work to preserve ancient tongues, and elders continue to guide, teach, and remember. To live as a reindeer person is to be in constant conversation with nature. It's not a life of luxury, but a life of dignity. In every stitch of fur, every bowl of broth, every carved sled runner, there is knowledge accumulated over thousands of years. An archive of survival, adaptation, and reverence. As the sun dips, low over the endless tundra and the reindeer slowly move across the horizon like a living river, it becomes clear that this is more than a culture. It's a living legacy, a story not of isolation, but of balance. Not of poverty, but of profound wealth, of wisdom, kinship, and purpose. In a world rushing toward uniformity, the life of the reindeer people reminds us of something timeless. That to truly live with the land rather than above it is a path not only of survival, but of harmony.
Вот такой. Потом идет.
Это надо надеть.
Потом идет наш чулок, тоже из меха. И просто обмазать этой
Да.
тухлой икрой.
Да.
Кожа становится мягкой. И что?
Потом выделываешь, готовые, коптим.
Водонепроницаемые же, да?
Чтобы не промокали.
Угу. Ноги. Так вот.
Annem davranıyor, başlıyor. Tersine biniken. Как упаду.
Я вас поймаю.
Это немножко темненький. Он тоже немножко разный цветом.
Правой стороной.
Они станут